Karthik Bhai is our founder and CEO, but that is not the reason uh, why he is there on this webinar. So that's not the designation which is being used for this introduction. He's here as the scientist, as the thinker, as the even code participator, whatever you want to call him as, whatever in terms of the technical aspect of designing and creating this, he has been
Team leader.
Team leader. Yeah. So, and I mean, it's down to the nitty gritties that he has been participating. And Ayush and Khanjan are the team members who have created this, along with Chintan, who is, of course, our head of engineering team. I don't see where he is. I see him in the participants list. Okay. All right. So that's the wonderful team we have. Karthik Bhai, of course, I mean, he loves this platform. He has created it from scratch. So kind of, this is not a company which has people who are not passionate about the platform. So every time somebody comes and looks at our platform, I feel very happy that they are giving us their time and appreciating our effort. So once again, thanks for everybody for joining in. Then so Ayush is there, Khanjan is there, and I think we can go ahead now and take up the next slide and roll it. All the best, guys. Go on.
Okay, thank you everyone for your time. Let's start now. Most of the people have joined, still few have not joined, but I guess they will join soon. So yeah, this is the webinar about, we already had NLP in Smarten, but with this new AI and Gen AI and other technologies, we have now introduced the new version of NLP, which should be available to customers in our current release, which has just been released in last few days. So we wanted to give you a brief on how smart and powerful this engine is. And then we will have the actual demo of the system where we will try the queries in the live environment. So just to give you a brief of, most of you are maybe the users or they know Smarten. It's one of the very few platforms which has traditional BI as well as advanced analytics components in one platform. So while we have this 100% browser-based interface with self-serve reports, dashboards, visualization, nice dashboards, KPIs, and all these traditional components, we have advanced analytics components such as self-serve data prep. So someone with mediocre or no SQL knowledge or ETL knowledge can create and prepare analytics ready data on their own. We have key influencer analytics, which helps you understand importance of other columns on the target you are looking for. So you know which predictors are affecting your target, and you can focus on them, you can improve on them, you can use them for the predictive models and all. We have a wonderful feature called anomaly alerts, where say you have particular KPI and certain limits are breached. System will send you the alert, enabling you to get your attention and enables you for management by exception. It gives ML generated description for what and why that anomaly occurred. So very helpful feature, especially for users who are at operational and tactical level. One of the most unique features is assisted predictive modeling, where business user with no data science background can create, share, and use predictive models on their own. A business user who knows his data and domain can literally start creating models for, say, cross-sell, upsell, or customer churn, or whatever he wants to create with less than 1 hours of training. And that's the most unique feature we have as far as the advanced analytics components are concerned. We have sentiment analytics, and now we are releasing this new version of Clickless Analytics or NLP search, which is also supported by the narration for any dashboard report or the NLP answer that you may get from the NLP engine that we have. So this makes it a comprehensive platform combining both traditional and modern BI in one application, one unified architecture. Yeah. So now about the Clickless Analytics, this version that we have, and so when we say natural queries, it's like the human queries which we say write in Google or whatever way we ask in our formal or informal conversations in our meetings, right? So apart from just having normal filter based queries that in NLP, lot of NLPs that we have seen, we have added a lot of context, and which makes it more powerful for interpretation of the human or natural queries. Say we are taking care of our engine understands festivals, holidays, and seasons. So Christmas, Diwali, even Indian festivals, seasons like summer and fall, synonyms, phonetics, and abbreviations. It takes care of it. Time series, whether you want to say this year versus last year or month over month, all these absolute, relative, and range based queries, the engine interprets on its own. It understands the polarity. Say, for example, your gross sales is a high polarity volume, higher the better, but your cost is a low polarity volume, lower the better. So when you say who is my worst performer in sales, it understands it has to identify the worst performers, for example. So it understands this polarity and rank context. It understands aggregation and most of the data operations like average, mean, max, sum, and all that we need to use. It understands comparisons. It understands, most importantly, WH questions: what, which, why, who. And it understands the column priorities, that okay, you have 20 columns in your data set and you just say sales, then you may have column meta names which has got sales in say 5 columns, but it understands that this is the column which it should focus more on to give answers. So we have not created just the simple filter type of interface. We have created the engine that has got a lot of context. And what makes our engine more powerful is it understands calculated fields and formula like CAGR or target achievement and all this. It understands geo places and people, right? So if you say western states or southern states or say even states with high population, sorry, it will just pick up those contexts which may or may not be in your data set. It generates queries which I think a very good SQL developer cannot write. So handles quite complex queries, understands the dynamic times such as say early morning, late evening, afternoon, and weekend, and all that. It also queries across multiple data sets. And we are going to show that in live demonstration today as well. Say you have a flight data in one data set and weather data in another data sets, and you want to see that which is the best flight I should pick up from JFK to LA in days where you have very high snowfall, for example. So it will create the join among the data sets as well, among multiple data sets also. It provides you simple language narration for any answer that is given, even gives you the interpretation for the queries generated, so you understand the logic behind those queries or custom columns like CAGR as well. And yeah, it supports multilingual in terms of asking the question. So whether it's Spanish or Hindi or Gujarati, and of course English, of course. Yeah. So if you can query in any language if you want to democratize it further. So all this context and this power makes it unique. So just to go through some of the type of questions that it can address. that what was the total sales amount last month for Bruce in Arizona, right? So, or how many leads were converted in October, or give me a report where employees are classified by poor, mediocre, or excellent performance. So, as you can see, say for example, this question, it understands first like how to classify the performance in terms of poor, mediocre, and excellent without specifying the range or without having these columns in your database. Or say we have given a Hindi example here. किस प्रोडक्ट का मार्जिन सबसे अधिक है, मीन्स विच प्रोडक्ट हैज हाईएस्ट मार्जिन, फॉर एग्जांपल यू कैन आस्क द सेम इन French, Spanish, whatever other language that you want to ask. So it supports variety of questions. It also, like I say, creates the joins among different data sets. If your data is so your query is not confined to just one data set you may have. So like I explained in the previous slide, like here you are trying to combine flight data and weather data, and even the complex queries like which flight is best for me, which reaches to New York fastest from Arizona in early mornings, you know. So here you can see best for me means it knows that shortest flight time, right? It understands, of course, New York, but it understands Arizona, New York to Arizona. So departure from New York, arrival at Arizona, and early mornings means say perhaps a slot between 7 to 10, right? So it picks up all this context. Even if you look at the first question here, say 90% of precipitation value. So it builds the formula also. So say for example, imagine if you had to create this sort of query when you have two data sets in Smarten or any other engine. You have to create a query, build a report, and then you perhaps will get the answer. So this is the power, and this is one of the reason me and we personally believe that I personally believe that use of a mature technology for NLP and conversational AI is going to dramatically reduce the use of traditional components like reports and dashboards. Yeah. So yeah, and these multilingual queries work across the different data sets, across the different languages as well. So yeah, this was the presentation, but now let's dive into the actual tool, and my colleague Ayush is going to take over from here. Thank you.
So before Ayush takes over, just let's kind of take a quick poll as to what people are at the moment using as the preferred mode of data analysis. So I've shared the poll, and if you can vote the options are: I would prefer reports, I would like to use dashboards, I would love to chat and analyze. So dashboards are, there are people who still prefer reports.
Experience of a good bot or NLP is going to change that preference. I'm pretty much convinced about that.
Yeah. So I mean, everybody should vote in, otherwise I won't move on to the next step. So meanwhile, you can log in, Ayush, so that you can open the screen. We just take this one poll and then we'll be back. So a lot of people like dashboards. So this is, and one more quick question. So just to understand how many people here are hearing about our platform, so are absolutely new. I know there are a lot of partners and customers who are there in the audience, but I just want to get a sense of people who have not heard of us and are absolutely new to our platform. So we basically can kind of keep that in mind while doing the presentation. So I'm just sharing this quick question. It's the first time, or I'm a user and I've heard it before. So let's quickly look at it. 53% people have responded. This is a very simple one. So let's get to at least 80% of the people have responded level. So almost 20% are absolutely new. So, I mean, maybe we can say a few words. So, Smarten is an analytics platform which does everything from end to end, right? From connecting to the data source to cleansing data to creating data sets to kind of using that data set to, publish it to uh, predictive analytics or make dashboards, visualization layer out of it, or you can do anomaly detection. You can use it for clickless analysis, also what you are looking at. And it's independent of any platform. It can work on premise or it can work on any cloud. So it's a feature of, say, I would say 5, 6 platforms together, like a typical ETL platform without the loading into another database. So it will do cleansing of data, and after the cleansing is complete, you have a visualization like the common. You have this layer which is called the BI type of a layer where you can make graphs and analysis. But that's not all that we have. We can basically take the data from our predictive analytics and put it on the dashboard also. That's like no other platform in the world does that at the moment. That's such a bit of a brief for people who are here for the first time. So I think we can go ahead now.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That's good.
let's
Thank you
start.
for answering. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Karthik, for a great overview of Smarten and Clickless Analytics, what it offers. Now let's see that in action. So I will walk you through around 8 to 10 different questions increasing in complexity, so you can see how naturally you can talk with your data. So here in the screen, you see a simple search bar, and below it, it suggests you some starter recommended question tailored to your data that you may want to ask. And here is the list of all the data sets that are eligible for the clickless analytics. So basically, you don't even need to select any data sets at all to ask a question. Engine is smart enough to automatically figure out which data to use based on your question, and even if I don't pick anything. So however, for the best results, it is always recommended to select the data set that match the questions that you are going to ask. So for this first part of this demo, I will select the sales demo data set, because first few questions are based on sales, and then we will leave the data sets unselected, and then we will let the engine decide. So let's go on and ask very first question. For example, product wise sales this year versus last year. So notice how the engine has to understand the relative phrases like this year and last year without me specifying exact dates. So it should automatically resolve those into the correct time ranges and compare them product by product. So here, as we can see, that it gives the best fitting visualization, and it is also showing that by each product we have sales in 2024 as given in the bar and sales in 2025 given in the line. So we can literally compare them visually, and if it is customizable as your need. So if I go through this configuration, I can see all the possible visualization, and I can select something as simple as tabular for the simple comparison. So here we can see product wise sales for 2024 and 2025. Now I'll show a very interesting feature which saves you time and energy to understand the data in front of you, which is called quick insights. This gives you a written summary of what is happening in the data, and it is generated on the fly. So as we can see, it has generated a written summary that cookies remain top selling product in both 2024 and 2025 with highest contribution to sales. and how much was it 2024, x percentage in contribution to the gross sales, and x percentage of contribution to gross sales in 2025, and which were the lowest contributors, and other summary as well. So even if you are not comfortable reading the numbers in a grid, the narration tells you the key messages in the plain language. Now let me refine the same question by adding something like or. So this is a product category. So I have just added show me the product wise sales difference for alcoholic drinks and this year versus last year. Yeah, so here we can see that how easily the engine applies the additional filter just from the way the question is phrased. So it says the overall product category alcoholic drinks has last year sales 19 million and this year sales 11 million. And even if you want to add some more like by product names, then you can open up the breakdown feature and add additional category like product name. And if you click on apply, it will give you the breakdown by each product names and which fall under the product category alcoholic drinks. So you now have the granular level of understanding of how the sales of alcoholic drinks category and each of its products vary from last year to this year. Now I will open the explainer panel, which helps you to see how each part of my question is broken down and mapped to the actual fields of the dataset. So if engine ever picks up something wrong column, you can always change the mapping right from here without rewriting an entire query. So here we can see that it has resolved for alcoholic drinks and to pick up from product category is a column from our data set. And if it were wrong, let's say, then you can click here and easily change it to any column that you want without touching your original query. Now let's change the question. Let me ask top performing sales reps. So there is no column called sales reps in this data set. But the meaning is I'm looking for the employees who are good at and top at the sales, right? So let's see. Okay, so as you can see, engine has understood that I am talking about employees who sell, and it maps this vague fuzzy phrase into the right entity. So here we can see Vogue Smith is doing best while Vogue Paul is doing really worst, and he's bottom of this sales spectrum. And it's not just about the sales reps, it can handle wide range of high level synonyms that you can ask and use. And if you have your organization specific terms and synonyms, then you can also configure them so the system, this engine, speaks your language. Now let me show you one more feature, which is ranking. So let's say I just want to see top 3 sales representative. So one option is I can just change my query to something like 4 top 3 employees, right? Something like that. But that will generate an entire new query. So instead, if I go to this rank and select by employee name, by total sales, and how much top and top 3. And if I click on apply, this gives me more systematic control of how I want to rank them, which makes it much easier to focus on the best performers without manually sorting or filtering anything. And as seen previously, we can also click on this quick insights and see written summary of who is performing, who is top, who is bottom, who is the third, etc. And even if I wanted to go a little deeper, I can use this breakdown feature and add anything like employee inside of city by product category. If I click on apply, I can see that for which category this particular employee is giving how much sales. So from a very high level view down to a granular view without changing a question. And even if you don't like this horizontal bar, you can select any other visualization, like for example this stacked bar chart, and it will just change it and show you the final result, right? And this is all coming from our sales demo dataset that we can see right from here as the dataset columns. If we see here, our dataset has some columns like employee ID, product name, sales quantity, cost of goods. The main thing is gross sales and etc. Employee name, as you can see. Now let me ask another question which involves some sort of calculation. So who has the highest this month? All right. So obviously in our data set, there is no direct column named target achievement rate, right? So the engine has to understand the intent and it has to construct the required calculation all on the fly, and it should return the right result. So according to it, William T. Jones, who has the target achievement rate of 937%, is the highest amongst other employees. So if I click on this configuration, we can see how exactly the engine has broken down the question and mapped the dataset columns to answer our requirement. Here, for example, target to resolve this target achievement requirement, it has used the given formula. And if you don't understand what formula does, then you can get a little help icon right from here, so that even it helps to understand what it means, what the logic is in the plain language, as we can read right from here. And for the users who are a bit more technical, who can understand SQL, there is also a query view which shows the exact underlying query that was used to generate this result. And once again, if I click on this little bulb icon, it gives you the natural language explanation of that query. This makes it much easier to validate and understand why the output is the way it is. So you can see what is happening behind the scenes. See, Smarten tries to help simplify each step in the process to make everything transparent and as understandable as possible. So you know what exactly is going on, even if it is technical. And as I said, it is not some sort of rule-based engine. You don't need to write some question in some way that is it expects. You can even ask something really vague and casual, like whom should I fire? See, this is not even a formal analytical question at all, but the engine infers that I am looking for the people who are weakest in the performance by say lowest sales, or say by lowest target achievement. I'm not defining anything here. I'm leaving everything up to the machine. So here it interprets the intent behind the sentence and still gives something meaningful and data driven answer. So it seems like it has compared the gross sales and the target and given us that this particular employee, Heather Bruce, should be fired. But obviously we can see its understanding by going on explainer. Like it has applied some sort of ascending, means it has picked some lowest person. And to see more calculation, we can see right from here from the query. So it has calculated some sort of gross sales minus target calculation, and who has the lowest amount of that gap is suggested, like this person. Obviously you wouldn't take any decision of firing somebody based on this calculation, but you get the idea.
But this is the basis, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now let me show you one more example which involves using some sort of complex logic. So something like what is per month sales this year, right? So even if a human had to write the logic for this, as you know, it would involve window functions, some sort of leg calculation, or sometimes subqueries as well. So here all of those complexity is abstracted away from you. The engine automatically computes month over month values for the current year and presents in a easy to read format. So
Now
here we can
imagine you have to write a SQL query for this, prepare a data set, and then create a report on this with some front end windowing functions, I mean, and just by asking the question, this is giving you the right answer right in front of you.
yeah, and it's not just limited to month over month. You can like ask anything week over week, day over day, last year, last to last year, like anything. And if you don't like the view, you can always change it to something more meaningful as which suits your needs, something like cross tab, and it will show you What's the sales this month, previous month, and the month over month change. So as said, it supports other languages as well. So let me ask some question in Hindi. Since it is in Hindi, I'm not going to type it. I have already typed in my scratchpad, so I'm just pasting it here. So बेकरी की अधिकांश वस्तुएं किसने बेची है? So which roughly translates to who has sold the most of the bakery items. Obviously, you don't have to write अधिकांश some sort of formal words. You can be informal as well, like ज़्यादातर or whatever you can write. But according to it, this guy has sold the most of the bakery items is written by total sales quantity, the highest number of sales quantity for the bakery. And we can open up the explainer and see how it has broken down our question and how it has mapped to everything. Let me ask one more. So this is for those of you who understand Gujarati. It means what is the sales of alcoholic drinks this year? See, system handles this question and understands the entities, measures, and still returns the correct answer without switching any settings manually. Again, it responds just as smoothly as it did for English. So total sales is 11.18 million. Right. So now let's switch gears a little bit. So for the next part of this demo, I will change the theme from sales to transport. So notice how I this time
Ayush, we will take a few questions before we go on to the next one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So, can we query to do forecast based on the current positions of the sales rep? Is one question.
It can give you the trend. It won't do forecast yet, but once we integrate predictive models into this, it will do predictive for forecasting or maybe perhaps regression or classification or other algorithms as well.
Then the other question is multilingual feature. Will it work for both the query and the data, or it's only for the query?
I did not understand the question.
So if
But
the
if your
data,
if your
is in,
database data is in ASCII, it should be able to match that as well.
so say for example, if the data is in Hindi and we query
It should do the ASCII match. Yeah, we have not worked with the data which is in Hindi or Gujarati, but it
Yeah.
should match the data as far as it's in data column and it's in ASCII.
Now there's another question, which is if we write a salesperson instead of sales reps or use them alternatively, will it give a consistent result?
Absolutely, it will.
It will, right. Can you find out what are the high performers doing and what the low performers are not doing, or which part of the sales processes are leading to low sales?
You use various features like breakdown, ranking, and other features for that, uh, or then you explore it further through assisted predictive modeling and other models that we may have, or simply put that KPI into anomaly alerts that we have. But as far as NLP is concerned, we have the breakdown and other interactive features to find out why and what of that particular answer you are getting.
If it is a multilingual query, will it take right to left?
We have
Arabic?
not tried with that, so I cannot confirm that at this point of time.
So there is a question based on the last 3 years. What should be the next target? Can we ask these type of questions? These type
That's
of
again
questions
going
are not
into
actually
forecasting or predictive mode.
Yeah, yeah. So
Like
it
I
will be
answered earlier, that's how you can handle it. Yeah.
So there are two other questions also, which basically are asking about how predictive would be integrated into the platform. But I think that is all at the moment. There is one question which says the data, if it is in Unicode, MS SQL Unicode,
We
will
don't
it?
query database directly. We query Smarten data set. So once it's in Smarten, we can handle everything.
So for this section, I think these are the okay. So there are the, of course, I mean there is this wish list also, that will the insights also give what can be done to improve the sales, and rather than a summary. Well, that's something which is on the pipe, so that will come through at a later stage. So yeah, thank you. I was sorry for interrupting, but there was a whole list piled up here, so I thought we'll take the questions. Now let's go on and basically look at using multiple data sets and doing the analytics using
Of
NLP.
course, of course. Thanks for the questions. So, so again, notice this time I will not select any data set from the drop down. I will simply rely on the engine to determine which data is relevant for my question. So I click on apply, and let me ask some simple question like, and yeah, first of all, I will be asking question for the flight data. So this is something about the where the flight landed, the name of the flight, arrival delay, departure delay, etc., etc. And this is the regular weather data, something like precipitation, temperature, cloud coverage, etc. So let's ask the first question. So I'll ask something like list all unique carriers from. Okay, oops, I have a typo there, but it should handle that. So here I'm willing to query unique carriers departing from the JFK airport. Right, so we have the unique carriers departing from the JFK airport. So with no data set pre-selected, Smarten detects that this question is about flights and chooses the flights data automatically and returns the distinct carriers flying out of JFK. Now the next one is a good one. So what is the average delay, for example, of flights when the precipitation is 80% or above? See, here I'm trying to ask from two data sets. So here I'm willing to ask what are those flights who are flying, who has the delay, and what's that delay, average delay when the precipitation is more than 80%. And it gives us the answer like 4.7 minutes. And here we can see in the explainer what sort of data sets that it has used to arrive to this decision. So here we can see that it has used weather data and flight data, and we can see that by this sort of yellow color that this 80% or more to resolve precipitation it has used the weather data, and for the calculating of this average of arrival delay it has used the flight data. So as you can see, the engine needs to combine information from multiple data sets. It has to figure out how to connect them. We haven't told it anything on which column they should be connected. It has to filter for high precipitation conditions, and it also has to calculate the average delay. That's something, you know. So one more, last but not least, I have how many flights take place during day. So instead of giving exact date, I have used the name of the festival of an event or a season. You can use anything you want. So the engine has to understand that this Republic Day is a time period and counts the flights in that window. So it shows 40 as a flight count, and we can confirm what it has understood by this Republic Day by using explainer. So it shows Republic Day of 26th January and 2025. So it takes the current year's data because we have not said it anything current year, last year, etc. So it has taken by default the current year. The same approach works for any other holidays or season or time periods as well, right? So great, that brings us to end of this demo. So now whatever you have just seen is how Clickless Analytics lets you talk to your data naturally across different data sets, different level of complexity, and even different languages, while it handles intent detection, calculations, joins. It also is as transparent and as explanatory as possible. Now I would like to show you something more interesting. Let me just share my screen.
That's on our roadmap. We are working on that. We call it conversational bot or using conversational AI. So, like, what of lot of your questions were also related to what next and why and what of a particular answer. So, with this new interface that we are designing and the engine that we are designing, which will come next into our this series of NLP, you ask the question, system will prompt you what should be the possible next question to come to why and what of that particular answer. You can use either those recommended questions, or you can ask the sub question or related question again on your own. And so it helps you interact rather than just leaving you on your own after giving the first answer. That's what our this new engine is doing. But with this conversational AI, you will be able to interact with chain of thoughts that you have to find out root causes of performance or non-performance, or what and why, and maybe some futuristic forecast, or using some predictive models. And also that should be coming next. We are not there yet, but we are working to make this a part of Smarten NLP stack, and you will see that in coming months. Yeah. So this is
All
a
right.
great next direction we are taking after this version is released. Yeah. Thank you so much.